Right now, I don't have a boss. My phone make money while I do sleep. Today, I will be talking about how I was able to quit my 9 to 5 job after 5 years working in Dubai as an OFW worker. And 13 years ago, I was doing everything alone, losing money, making mistakes for everything that I have done. But nobody warned me about all of the investments that I do make. I have a book that's called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. So that book had impacted me a lot of things when it comes to making decisions, quitting my 9 to 5 job while I was working abroad. And I wish someone had told me all of these things that I have taken. So on this video, I will be showing to you the reason why I quit, what was the actual business that replaced my 9 to 5 job, what was the actual moment that I have thought this is enough for me to be doing 9 to 5 from someone else. I would be ready to risk and to bet on the things that I've been wanting to be doing. And to be honest, it's not easy because all of us has this fear when we are about to do something different. So yes, I will be breaking down all of these things that I have learned and the system that I have been using for all of my investments, which is rental arbitrage that I have been doing. Let's dive in. Okay, number one. Number one is number one. Okay. Okay, number one was the actual business, the actual work that I have been doing when I was in Dubai. Was I was doing 9 to 5 job working in the airport. I was clocking in. I've been doing that for almost 5 years. I come across to the idea of doing rental business when I had a chance to get this book to flip while I was working 9 to 5 in Philippines, which is a call center job. So the main point was, first thing that I have done was I took a top-up loan. That top-up loan had transitioned me from building that business and some help from my dad for that capital that we do need. Working 9 to 5 is not easy. We have 3 shifts in in a week, and for the first time I was battled with a lot of anxiety because when I first come to Dubai, I didn't have a good experience when it comes to dealing with a lot of Filipinos. And I think it's not only me who's having that kind of situation. I think a lot of Filipinos as well in Dubai have this kind of experience where they are being bullied by the seniority of other people. And for me, that's okay. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say to these people. During those times, I knew that it was an actual reason for me to be where I'm at right now. So, but that's one of the main point why I had to think, how can I quit from my 9 to 5 job very soon from that company. Though it's a very good company, I would not say anything bad to the company. And that was the actual breaking point for me. So rental arbitrage caught my attention because back then I had a I had that app since I was college. I've been always loved to travel, and I love traveling to the point that when I took my course in college, I took the course tourism because all I think was like I want to travel the world and make money. So cut the story short, I download the app. I didn't know that there is such a way to host. And before I was just like, curious, checking places while you are in Philippines, and then you check the country, so you see Paris, you see Italy, you see the beautiful homes that you have never thought about be going into. So the the moment I had a thought that I will be doing the business was when I went to Philippines. One time that I brought my parents to a tour in Bicol, and we had stayed to one Airbnb of a Filipino guy who has this big house. And we had a chat a bit, like what he was doing, how he was doing. And then he said, like, this is our house. Actually, we bought also the parking lot because some of our guests doesn't have a parking lot as well. And he's quite renovating the house because it's not complete, but some rooms are already done. So that moment I already had like a curious thought, like what this person has in this place, why he is having a lot of guests. So this realization of me being curious applied when I come back to Dubai. And I had a thought like what it is in Dubai that I can use as actual benefit enable for me to get more guests. So as we all know, Dubai is like, a booming country when it comes to tourism, when it comes to tourists. So that idea and concept was like the actual ground enable for me, let's try to create something in here and do an Airbnb. So that's the moment I have started to do an Airbnb. Airbnb wasn't known in Dubai before. 7 years ago, it was just recently that it come to know by a lot of expats, a lot of locals, especially Europeans who have gone to Dubai to open this type of business. But entirely, Airbnb can be done in any countries as long as it's actually allowed. It can be done in any places of the world, and you don't need to own an actual apartment. Second is you can do as much as you want of an idea. Like you can open an Airbnb with just using a tent in a beach, or you can open an actual tent in the middle of the forest and you can open it into Airbnb. So there's a lot of things that where you can apply the actual model or system. This business, I don't have an actual mentor back then. I was just continually and I was deliberately watching and following a lot of YouTube. There was one guy that I was following. His name is Ryan Rax Rakij Rakij Ryan Rakijic, and he's actually a famous YouTuber when it comes to Airbnb. And he grown his property from 55 to 100. Right now it's 200, I think. So I was following this guy and seeing how he's doing it, and somehow with the love of creating good interiors, creating good homes, creating good experience, that combination of skills that I have come through experience had helped me to actually start the first rental Airbnb in Dubai. Okay, next topic will be I'll be breaking down a bit of rental arbitrage. What is rental arbitrage? But here I will explain also again. So what it is, so rental arbitrage is you rent a property from a landlord, list it on Airbnb or booking.com, VRBO, as long as you get an actual landlord to say yes to the idea that you'll be renting his house to a different people or guest. So in other words, it's a leasing. So that's how it actually works. So it can apply to different process, like it's not only apartment, you can apply it by rooms, you can apply it on bed spacing. So this is how the Airbnb works. Now, why it actually works, the gap between the long term and short term rental income is the arbitrage process. On starting a rental arbitrage, first you have to find an actual property. Finding landlords is quite tricky, but you have to know which location you will be getting, what you will say to the landlords, and from there you can position your type of market that you wanted to attract once you find the actual property. Now, after that, you just need to know how to price and position your actual apartment. So this comes with a lot of different learnings when it comes to strategy on pricing your actual property, because you're competing with different type of owners, different type of hotels, and different types of luxury hotels. So you have to know how you will be able to make the guest feel like I'm gonna go to this apartment and to this property above to all other competitors. So you have to know how to position your actual apartment. Then the risk. The risk that nobody tells you. Short term rental is really good when it comes to making money and income, but we have seasonality when it comes to aspect of short term rental. So we also have issues like bad guests and seasonality platform bans. Platform bans have happened to me twice, but there's a lot things that you can learn that we can learn if you are starting as a new host. Landlord issues, if your landlord suddenly increase your rent, so that's going to be another thing that you would have to think. And then yeah, if it's a low season like in Dubai, if it's summer, no one actually wants to come, so you have to prepare yourself that if you're making a lot of money during winter season, you have to know, you have to position your pricing, so when it comes to summer season or to low season in the country that where you have Airbnb, you have something to cover for those rents when there is no guest. So how it scales, how a person can actually open from one apartment to 50 apartment to 100 apartments. So there is what we call reinvesting your profits. So most of the owners who does this religiously great was what they have done and applies to me as well. When I get my first apartment, I actually stack all the profits 3 to 6 months. And after that, when I see another opportunity of a new apartment that's monthly, I take it and I reinvest that profit again. So that's how I scaled. You don't see the actual profit because the profit you're investing to another asset. So that's how you scale business. Most people when they see the profit, they get the profit, they buy another things, they buy material things. So you have to know your focus if you wanted to really use this as your retirement basis. You have to really do the hard work in the first few years and then quit your 9 to 5 if you see it's already scaling for you. So here's the part of 13 years of experience. Lesson number 1. Doing it alone will cost you a lot of money. And I am saying this because it happened to me many times. I'm the person who loves to risk, and to the point that if I really wanted to get something, no matter how much people would tell me like this is not a good place, this is not a good idea, this is not a I am just shut off from all of the opinions of others, and I will just go on to what I want. And that's what happened to me for the 13 years. I wasn't able to meet the right property owner. I wasn't able to meet the person who's doing the work. So, maintenance people who are actually lying to you. And some of the people, like agents, there's a lot of scams in Dubai that you can actually come across if you are new. So that could be prevented with an actual mentor. And that's the reason why when you see a mentor, they're charging a lot and huge cost. Like the person that I am following in YouTube, he's actually charging, I think, $3,000 or $1,000. We're not talking about hundreds because these people are teaching you the exact system that they had been using for years. They're teaching you the actual ways to make money. I think I am now open to that. I have invested a lot of people right now where I invested my money because I wanted to learn something like marketing or learning new skill. Lesson number 2. My biggest loss has built me the resilience that was in return, it built me more revenue. So in every season of things that happens into our lives, not only to me, but whatever that I'm facing in the business, I'm always transitioning that as a blessing somehow that lead me to a better purpose. So 3 years ago, I was scammed in Dubai, and that situation had led me to really dig into how I was able to think in one position, how I was able to get out from that situation. So it's around 140,000 dirhams. Let's just break down around 6 apartments that I have lost. But that situation had led me to learning how to talk to different owners, had led me to build relationships, personality that I wasn't able to know that it can emerge without that situation happen. So that painful situation somehow taught me to somehow opens my mind, because before I overthink about many things, but when that uncontrolled situation happened, it actually reminds me the book that I have read from Stephen Harvey, where he says that focus in the place that you can control of, focus in the moments that, or focus to the area that you have control of. And that's what I have done so far, enable for me to survive from from those losses. Number three, resilience isn't a motivation, it's actually a system. So what kept me going was learning the actual system. I can lose an apartment today and wake up the next day and do it again the same exact way how I was able to do it 3 years ago. So once you get to know and learn the system, you can actually scale your business not only in the country where you're at, but into another country as well. So that's what I keep always saying to people. If you wanted to replicate your business and having that freedom from being on your business, you need to know the actual system. Like, I met a guy and he was saying like how you able to manage your business while you are here and your business in Dubai. It's all about the system. And if you don't have that system, you will be all over to your business working more than the 9 to 5 job. And I had been there as well. And then I come to know that, okay, so there must be something that I should be focusing on. My energy should be focusing on, enable for me to make more cash flow, more money coming into my account somehow. So that is something that you have to understand as well. Lesson number 4 was 3 years ago, I had an attack on my health. I got an autoimmune disease where I had a lot of eczema on my body. What I didn't know was my body was actually failing because of a leaky gut. And this is all cause of stress, all cause of not eating properly well. So this caused me a lot of mental issues that I have come to realize and understand that I cannot be running the business if I am broken inside. And it got me thinking, what if things happen to me mentally, I am not in the zone, how is my business will be running? So that's the time that I open my eyes that, okay, if I will get an actual virtual assistant, if I will get someone to do this job instead of me doing it, if ever one day that I was not feeling well or I am not in the mood to work, my business would still be running every day. So that's the time that I stopped thinking as an employee, because I used to work as a 9 to 5, but that's actually totally wrong. It actually caused me more issues in terms of health, in terms of my mental and my energy. So I learned to be an actual operator, like a real business person who delegates. So I think, and I believe a lot of people miss this category, because when you are an entrepreneur and you're building something, you are doing all by yourself, which is at the end of the day, it's going to burn you out. It's going to burn you out one day and you would think like, what the hell am I doing? So you have to remember how to delegate is so important learnings that come across into my life while doing the business. So what retirement actually looks like. Lesson number 5. What retirement actually looks like. It's not about actually the beach every day. People see I'm always on the beach. I get to wake up at any time I wanted. But it's not about that actual lifestyle, but it's more about a freedom of choice. If one day I wake up that I wanted to be in Philippines to spend time with my father, or I wanted to be the next day in Dubai, or I wanted to be in the next day in Vietnam, it's more about freedom of what you can do with your time and not be controlled by the actual system. So that's what retirement actually looks like for me, to be able to decide whatever that I wanted to do in a day and to become more productive with those hours that I do have in my life. To be honest, dreaming an actual early retirement is not something that I have come across suddenly. It was something that I had built through years. It was an imagination that I do have in my head since I was young, and we didn't grow up rich. My father was actually a sidewalk vendor before, and to those people who doesn't know, he was seller in the street market, a street vendor. And there was one time that we were in Alabang. He brought us to actually sell those stuff for us to learn. And we were selling these spoon and forks. And I cannot forget that face at that moment when we were caught by the police. And I was there and I was pleading, please don't take our stuff. And at that moment, it was so vivid that I see his face. I saw his face and say to myself that I don't want him to be doing this at the age of 60. I don't want him to be doing pleading to people and working as a sidewalk vendor at the age of 60. When I quit my 9 to 5 job, somehow my father was smart enough that he actually saved money for himself. He never asked us money. I think it's very big thing as well, help for us. But the mindset of people, no matter if you are in Philippines, he was a sidewalk vendor and he was able to save that money consistently. And when there was no more work to be given on the street because of the rules, he was ready. He was ready to actually quit that work. So it was just a blessing that if you actually knows what you want in life at the early age, somehow the universe will help you to move on to that aspect. And it's, I know that it's not easy to make that decision because most Filipinos, like when it terms talk about retirement, we're not actually highly thinking about it. Somehow we are just working because this is the system of Filipino. We need to be working 24/7 or 365 a day and go back to home, spend money for your family, and then go back to work. But no one actually teaches us to get out from the system and how to get out from that actual system. So that reality became to life because of me imagining it and because of me moving towards and doing things that would make that happen. You get what I mean? So for those expats who are fear about quitting their 9 to 5 job and thinking about their when is my retirement, until when should I stop, I think I suggest right now you can write down your hours. You can write down your hours on one piece of paper and just categorize the hours that you are spending for yourself and for your work. And if you have a family, how much time that you spend with them. I think that was the highlight of me realizing that I need to stop working, was when there was a chance that I was on my 9 to 5 job, I was standing and there were no customers. I took a small notepad, I written down my hours per thing that I'm doing. I woke up in the morning, I sleep for 8 hours or 7 hours, and then I see that we all only have 24 hours. What is left for me as a person? What is left for my family? How will I be able to make more time for myself from the things that I want to be learning and for the time that I wanted to give to my loved ones somehow? So It will never be easy at first, but somehow it's going to be worth it. I hope this video helps everyone who are working abroad and thinking like, when will I go back home? When will I resign? When will I quit? Early as now, you can write down your hours and try to save as much as money that you can. And if you're interested on learning how to do this type of business, rental arbitrage, rental, you can see my links in my bio, or you can comment here as well if you're interested, and we can connect, and I can teach you the process, how to be able to acquire a unit, and just for me, helping another person to have more hours with their life, with their time, with their family. It will be a greatest blessing for me somehow. So thank you so much for watching. And if you find this video valuable, please click like and subscribe and follow for more tips of this type of video. And yeah, thank you so much and have a good day.